On table number 2, from Alexandra, Pagan Karodia.
On table 3, from Taihape, Cherie Alabaster's here, ladies and gentlemen.
We'll hand you back to our commentators. Rowena. Welcome Rowena Duncan. She is my co-commentator.
So here we are at getting to the real brittle end of the evening. This is the Share Expertise Open Wool Handling. You've just seen the finalists all introduced and take their places. This has been a brutal exercise to get to this final 4, and seeing as Digger offered to hang out and offer some expert shearer commentary with us, we're more than happy to accept your invitation to hang out further, Digger. Thank you. And of course we've had Barbara Newton with us often during the wool handling events, and as you're quite aware, Barbara's preeminent wool classer, fine wool classer from the South Island, and it's lovely to have her here. She's been a judge with me, actually, as we've judged back in the day. So they've started, and as we heard Thomas say, they'll be handling 6 long wools and 4 second shear fleeces. So that's going to be a little bit of a mission for them, Barbara.
Oh, for real. I mean, it's going to be, it's a mission of stamina. But, of course, this is the main event at the Golden Shears for the wool handling. And for me, it's the main event, full stop. But, it's a culmination of the last couple of days. Pretty intense competition for these 4 people that are the remaining. What did we start off with? 40 or so in the open?
Oh, it was 50.
50, wow.
Yep. About down to the final 4. So we've got Joel here. Have you ever worked with Joel, Digger?
No, I haven't. I've shown in the shows sometimes, and he's wool handled for me.
He's masterful, isn't he?
Brilliant, absolutely brilliant. And they were talking, I heard some people talking this afternoon after the semi-final, and they were commenting on his throws on the table. They were absolutely perfect. So we'll just watch this first one. Here we go.
He was lucky enough to have 4 quite nice little wee fleeces in the semi-finals. Got some bigger ones this time. A little bit more of a challenge, as we can see there.
A little bit of overhang, I'd say, on one side.
He hasn't filled up the end of that table.
Barbara,
It's not one of his better.
Not one of his better throws, but then when you have a look at it, it was a bit loose. The rest of them, I don't think there's a faultless throw there. They were all good, pretty good, but there was nothing that was a perfect throw. So you can expect that there'll be penalties applied for that.
Sort of looks like they need eyes in the back of their head because, they're working away on the table and then they've got to go back and get the wool around the crutch, don't they? Because they'll get penalised if they miss that, Barbara, and same around the top notch.
Yes, there's a standard penalty if you miss the crutch plus all the wool that's left. But of course, wool handlers do have eyes in the back of their head because we're pretty multi-talented and we've got to do a lot of things. We're just not looking down on top of a sheep or looking up a crutch or down a belly or around the side. But look, we've got Pagan's already rolling up, and the others are
not too far away.
Yeah, no, Joel's getting back to that.
I think the thing is, Digger, when you said they have to get back to the shearer, part of that is in that crutch wool is a whole lot of what we would call contamination, short wool, daggy wool, stained wool, and you don't want that contaminating that beautiful fibre that we can see being prepared, ready for this next throw. So, all the time you're trying to avoid contamination with that beautiful wool.
Cherie, first one on the next round. Big, bulky, all beautiful, big fleeces.
Look at that one from Joel, that's quite nice.
Those tables don't look big enough.
Most definitely.
There's a power of wool coming off these Wairarapa sheep.
There is. This is the slow-mo and a bit of a replay. Out from Cherie, yeah.
We do this in the shed sometimes, it's a lot of fun. Put them on the boomerang and the slow motion.
Yeah, look, and even Candy down the end, we sort of miss her a little bit, but that was a very lovely throw that she executed at that stage as well. There she is. clearing all of that, all those short fibres from that crutch wool.
I don't know a lot about Candy, Barbara, but I do know the Hura, the surname. The Hura, they're famous name up around Tuakau, I think.
Well, she's, I'm not sure where she originally comes from, but she's based around Mataura now with the Waihapi family. And Kenny's a very accomplished fine wool handler and leads a lot of the big teams for Peter Lyon Shearing. So she's no slug.
No, she's been around for a fair while. We don't always see her get this far up here, Barbara, so this is fabulous to be able to have her in this final. Fantastic.
Yeah, next to her we've got Cherie Alabaster, and Cherie's a school teacher, is that right?
That's right. She's kaiako for Kura Kaupapa. She does
nice throws. Yeah, all three.
She does good work in there, and that's her mainstay these days.
So this is just a hobby for Cherie?
Oh, this is where the heart is, eh? This is where the heart is. She's an Alabaster.
Family
Well,
are
it's just
born
in
with
the-
wool coming out of their ears.
In the blood, isn't it?
It's
And,
in the blood.
It's a bit like the
at those
shearing.
fingers.
You just get hooked on it and you can't get away from it.
Oh, and there's a beautiful story that goes with wool. There's a beautiful story that sets out why we take so much care, why we want to be, the best we can with this as a fibre. So there's Joel, little dials down the end. Once again, a green is good, and this is the average of this heat. So in time, Joel's right up there. In terms of the board, he's outstanding. He's right far green. So he'll be very pleased with that. He might be lining himself up. He's obviously lining himself up for yet another win. Maybe at Golden Shears, or maybe it's going to be a new one. Someone like Kitty.
Yeah, he's very astute on the board and with his work rate and his work ethics, Joel. He's very focused and knows what he's got to do and doesn't muck around. No fluffing about with him.
I thought
Nicely rolled.
Joel had retired.
Yeah, well, of course.
Normally when you come out of retirement, you're not as good as you were. You like to think you are, but you see some of these rugby players come back out of retirement and they're never quite as good as they were before they retired. So is Joel as good as he was?
Oh, most definitely. He's just a chicken. He's not even 30. He's been doing it for blooming 20-something years.
When you say, is he as good as he was before? The way he's been with the break he's had, I'm tempted to say he's probably better.
Yep.
That the rest
not so
is-
much pressure, and he knows what he's got to do and how to do it.
Yeah. So there you go. There's Pagan. She's doing all right too. Her board, she's not as smart in terms of her board penalties as Joel, but it's still in the green. She'd have to be happy with that.
She's a very unassuming wool handler. You don't think that she's moving fast at all.
Cherie's just taken a bit of a tumble.
Hope she's all right. Oh, she might have fallen in a basket. As I was saying, Pagan is very unassuming. Oh, it doesn't look
She's
great.
okay.
Oh, she's sorting it out.
Yeah.
Yep.
There's not a lot of room up there, and you've got to be pretty nifty and nimble.
Well, they
She'll
say
sort
that
that.
wool handlers are like ballet dancers. On point tonight, I'd say these four.
Yep, well, she did well to recover. Well done, Cherie. She's a professional. She's a world champion. She's been around a long time. She's, you just get on and get into it, don't you?
So tell me, I don't know a lot about the wool handling, mainly just stuck to shearing. So when they skirt that fleece, they're looking to take out all the discoloured wool, but if they take too much out and they put that in their oddments pile, what happens then when they go out the back and judge it?
Yes, most certainly. And if they've overskirted, i.e. taken too much fleece wool with the pieces, that the good wool will be taken apart, and that will be there will be penalty points to that competitor. So
I suppose that's costing the farmer money in the long run, isn't it? Because
yes.
he's going to get top price for
That's
that
right.
fleece wool.
you want to get as much as you can in that fleece wool because that's your big dollar line.
Yeah. And there's a real differential. So you do want to have an A line that is just amazing. And that's why in these competitions, we've got 9 baskets. Now, you don't always see that in a wool shed where you separate your oddments to that nth degree. But this is about being able to identify.
So they've got 9 baskets. So
Yeah.
Like, what are they putting in all those baskets? Because when I shear at home, I put my good wool in one line, I put the other wool that's not so good in another line, and the dags in another line. So I only have 3 baskets.
Yep, and that's probably a sensible thing to do with sheep numbers that potentially you have, Digger, but this is also about being able to identify what the faults are and why they are a fault. So, for example, around the sock and around the head is kemp fibre, hollow fibres. They need to be treated quite differently. They don't take the dye. Now, if they get mixed up, even in your belly wool, you're not going to have the desired result when you go to dye that wool. You'll have all those white flecks. Then you've got real short wool, and then you've got the longer wool that's going to wash into a good colour. So, there's a lot of decision making happening right there every minute or every second that these wool handlers are in your shed.
Yeah, you call them processing faults. I like to relate them as processing types. So you've got your different lengths, so it's used
Yeah.
for different type. You've got your carding wools, your combing, clothings, and all those type of things, and that's all related to the length and or the way that it is processed later on, through the scouring system. Because a lot of times it will all be blended back together, unfortunately. Here we go, getting ready for the turnaround.
shear.
So Joel's getting all organised here, cleaning up that floor area so they can put a second shear down.
So they've got to sweep all that floor, do they now, so that the second shear wool doesn't get mixed up with the long wool?
Exactly.
That's the one. That's exactly right.
I've been watching the wool handlers work over here for the last couple of days, and it just looks so easy. And I actually thought, well, maybe I'm coming to the end of my shearing career. Maybe I could just take wool handling up because it looks so easy. These girls and even Joel, these guys, they make it look so easy. But the way you two are describing it, there's actually a bit more to it than meets the eye. So I might just keep out of the wool handling too.
No, you give it a go by all means.
I think there'd be a number out there who would be more than happy to tutor you into the next Joel Henare.
Yeah, but there are certain people that are just uncoachable.
Oh, it wasn't for me to say, or you, Barb?
No, have a go down here. Candy, she's sweeping up there, tidying around, keeping up with the shearer, which is most important with the second shear wool, because once those dirty little wee pieces get mixed up with the fleece, it's so hard to get it out. So if you can keep right up with the hand piece of the shearer, you can get it out right there and then. Cherie keeping things nice and tidy all the
So
time.
I see Cherie there frantically sweeping the board after the shearer's finished while he's in catching his sheep. If she didn't sweep that board, like how many faults would she lose?
It's a great. Every credit card size piece of wool is a point. So the idea is to keep everything penalties. Sorry. So every time you want to try and keep everything nice and clean, so there's no contamination of the different length type of wools in with their fleece wool. No opportunity for that to happen. See, Joel's right there catching it as soon as it comes out of the handpiece, pretty much.
So yeah, the moral of the story is it's wool type with wool type. So you don't want anything that kind of contradicts that. So everything that these wool handlers are thinking about, and Joel's, look at them, they're thinking, working, where does this go, will this fit here, how do I make sure that this wool's kept separate from that. They're just making decisions minute or second by second. And Joel here's still got a fleece on the table. He's got to get rid of that. This is like in a wool shed when maybe there's a cutout and the shearers are saying, well, hurry up, there's only 100 in here, we've got to get home. And so sometimes they may start, and the wool handler's job, they're charged with ensuring that they don't mix those wools.
That's right. Yeah, I've been worked with plenty of shearers. They don't like stopping, and they might stop for 30 seconds if there's a cutout, and the wool handlers have got to get the lamb's wool out of the way so we can start on the ewes or something like that.
Yeah, well, that's exactly what you're saying.
Cherie's got all her full wool off the table and away, and so is now Candy. So we just got Pagan to get rid of that one fleece.
Yeah, that's pretty crucial. You've got to get rid of this stuff as soon as you can, because the longer it's there, the more potential there is for contamination. So great job being done on the one 3 and 4. Pagan, her strategy's a little bit different, and like you said, she's quite an unassuming wool handler, but she's very pedantic, isn't she?
Yeah.
She's very quality focused.
You notice all of these wool handlers, they know exactly where they're putting things. They're not thinking, oh, now where are the bellies, where's this, where do I put that? They know exactly where they're going, so they don't waste time, no double handling. She's straight in that bin.
So Pagan and Cherie, they're the current world teams wool handling champs.
Correct, and they've got 3rd and 4th respectively in France. And personally, I thought they should have got 1st and 2nd, but anyway, we won't go there. We've managed to win the Trans Tasman last night, and yeah, we've got 3 master wool handlers here. This is absolutely amazing, and lots of things for the younger up and comings, for our senior wool handlers to aspire to. And Candy there, I mean, like she's just as good as them, but she just hasn't done so much competition. And this is her one chance to show what she can do amongst the top
So
players.
she's really, she's up against it tonight. But wouldn't it be fantastic to have a young up and coming new winner?
Well, we haven't had one for a while. Before that we've had Joanne and Joel for about the last 12 years. There's only been 2 winners, has there?
That's
for the last 12 or so years.
Let's go, Candy. Come on, Candy. Let's
Yep.
go South Island. Matara, is it?
Matilda.
Matilda. Well, Pagan resides in Alexandra, so I'm happy. So that's 1 and 2. And Joel, he's all over the place. And Cherie, she's the only stable one, and Tai happy, I think.
At the end of the day, it matters not. We, as a nation, we have stunning skills, and we share it. We utilise it for the benefit of the GDP of the wool product, which at the moment isn't good, but that's no reason not to continue to ensure that there is quality standards that are maintained and acknowledged and sort of put out there every day as much as we can.
It's more important now that we maintain our high quality, because, as I've told you, I've already prophesied that the wool business is going to turn itself around, and we want to be right in there to take advantage of it. We don't want to be scrambling around trying to reorganise and educate people to do things properly.
That's right. Barbara's told us, Digger, $5 a kilo for crossbreed.
I didn't mention a number. I just said it was just going to go.
Wouldn't that be great?
Wouldn't that be great?
Wouldn't that be fantastic? Yeah.
And now the blend.
Here we go.
This
Shakedown.
is the best part, I reckon. I really like watching the blend.
See everything bobbling up and down, Digger? You're pretty keen on that?
Oh, no, they just seem to be getting into it. All the wool going everywhere. Looks like they don't know what they're doing, but they obviously do.
Well,
and then now the hands go up.
Yeah, they try and make a nice homogenous little heap
Nothing
there.
I've still got Cherie. There goes Cherie. She's just put her arm up.
Yeah.
Candy
just
down
doing a bit
there
of
on
tidying
4. A little bit of a tidy up.
And she's
Candy's
done.
time's taken.
They should be breathing pretty hard by now. Look, Pagan, she's taking a few deep breaths.
Yeah.
Joel always, he looks a bit unassuming, but tell you what, he'll be hurting. 'Cause he likes to finish first. You see, he hates it when someone else finishes.
He
like they did in the
does.
semis.
Well, I think Pagan put her broom up first, didn't she?
She did.
Well
She
spotted.
did, yeah.
Oh no, it was Cherie. But the thing is too is that Joel, that wasn't a lovely clean-up that I usually expect to see from him. To be honest,
Maybe he was a bit rattled.
I think he was.
There's pressure.
Yeah.
Pressure.
Yeah. A couple of his throws.
of
A
his
little bit of overhang on that one. That was the first one we saw.
Yeah, and Barbara always talks about how it doesn't fill the table. These fleeces are capable of filling that table,
And it should.
Yeah.
So that was obviously a little bit bunched. That first
there would have been
fleece.
that bunching at the top that would have prevented that. So there's a penalty for that.
But beautiful wool, I just can't believe it. No colour to speak of. I mean, it looks a little bit yellow here on the screen. I tell you what, that's just the lights.
Yes.
Well, they haven't had any rain here for a couple of months, Barbara. So
Yeah, probably since last year.
there shouldn't be any colour.
All right. Well, we're just watching some of the reruns. There's
Throws.
messages coming through. There's a lot of support for these wool
Now,
handlers.
that's a better one from Joel. See, that's how Digger, how that's filled the table, whereas
Yep.
a Pagan's one's got the top third there's not filled up.
So, but Digger, you'll be right to help us commentate at the wool handling shows now. That's going to be just simply awesome. Thank you. You're there anyway. Why not?
That's when he's not competing.
I did some Danny Verk.
You did too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
Awesome.
Nice one, yeah.
Well, look, thank you very much for that. The tables will now be set down. I think there's a little bit of entertainment while we prepare for the last event of the evening, and of course this is the biggie. This is the Golden Shears Bailey's Open Shearing. So thank you very much for joining us, Barb. Lovely to have you up here for this 2020 Golden Shears.
Well, I've still got the entertainment this evening to go, so
We do. Let's not say hooray too early. All right, thank you very much. Let's back to the stadium.
thanks, Mavis.
No, mate.
See that guy licking his missus' face?
I thought we were on it for a minute. I'm bashful enough without that carry on in front of 1,000 odd people.
Okay, our shearers are ready to go, ladies and gentlemen. This is the open final. 20 woolly beasts are sitting in their pen right now, ready to go.